Your voice, your opinion, your community. Fact TV, free speech protected.
The following is an independently produced program. The views and opinions expressed are entirely those of the producer and do not reflect those of Falls Area Community Television, its staff, or board of directors. Take a deep breath. Remember this is public access and carry on.
Secrets in the shadows, lost and found. Truth in every echo, loud and clear. Keep on with the long road, no more fear. In the halls of power, whispers grow. Every secret cut beneath the undertone. Honor stories hidden in the glass. On this long road, in the truth we trust.
Good afternoon. Welcome to the Long Road. Today is another hot day, our fourth in a row in the 90s. But that's a good, take on. There's a lot of hot topics going on in the country, in the world right now. But one of the things I've noticed, I was in Target last night with my wife. I've been in Home Goods and TJ Maxx and some of these places. But I haven't seen too many people smiling. Walked downtown during the weekend for Jumanji's 30th anniversary. Yeah, there were kids who were smiling because they had their paint faced, or they had a balloon or an ice cream or crushed ice. But a lot of the parents weren't smiling. A lot of the single couples weren't smiling. And you know what it is? People are scared. People don't feel secure about their position. Companies like CNS and other ones around here are still laying off people. And the goal is AI automation. Like 30 years ago, when they did a lot of automation in the car industry, automation takes away jobs. Amazon's closing up places, did away with about 1,000 jobs. Automation. UPS got a new contract, and so drivers can make up over $100,000 a year, but now they want to replace a lot of the non-drivers with automation. Post office going automation. Automation, where they keep saying efficiency or AI efficiency, is to make money. It is not to worry about the future of the common American. Okay? I want a will, AI can do that. I want to do a lot of simple legal stuff, AI can do that. There is more and more stuff that AI is doing, and so people are going to college, spending a lot of money, and go, oh, we don't need you. AI can do that. So the goal of AI is to reduce the number of workers, to reduce labor. Normally, your biggest cost is labor. And every person that you can get rid of goes and increases the chances of you increasing your profit. I put a robot in like General Motors done. Instead of having 3 shifts or having 2 shifts with people working overtime, hey, the robot does it all 24 a day. The robot doesn't need health care. The robot doesn't need HR. AI is doing a lot of that. AI has benefits. But what they don't like to tell us is when we have industrial revolutions and we develop to the next level, while first it seems great, there is always a cost. The cost is human labor. You no longer need union labor. For example, if you needed 15 coal miners to work to get a certain amount of coal out, and then you get a piece of equipment that does the same thing every 8 hours, that could be 30 coal miners out of work just for one machine. So there are things that go. So when you got small group of people saying this is a great evolution of industrial manufacturing thinking, all this, there is always a cost. Okay, and you go, what are you going to do about AI? Well, the federal government, when I go into the big, beautiful bill, the big, beautiful bill, one of the things is they want to say that no state will have the right to regulate AI in their home state. The bill would say, nope, for the next 10 years, New Hampshire or whatever, or Massachusetts or whatever, cannot regulate AI. So, say you had an industry that was employing 10,000 people, and you're the state, and you're worrying about the welfare of the state, and I go, you know what? I can come and build this factory, a nice modern factory, put this equipment in, run by AI, and screw those 10,000 people. Where does those 10,000 people get a job? Like, for example, early this month, a meat packing plant in a small town, I think it was in Ohio, says, oh yeah, by the way, don't come to work tomorrow because we're closing the plant down. And don't worry, we'll give you 60 days severance pay and all this other kind of stuff. That's one of the biggest business. That was the second biggest business in town. So 300 people get laid off. So say that's 250 families are affected. Now these families don't have money to go buy food. Now they don't have health care. They don't have money to pay their taxes. The town kind of goes down. Look at Winchester when it lost its tannery. Look up at Berlin and some of those places when they lost their paper mills. Look at some of the other places when they lost the logging industry. Look how long it took Manchester to recover after the mills closed down. Okay, when those happen, what is the replacement? What happens to all these people? Some may be lucky and get a job, but all of them will not get a job. If you're 61 years old, you're stuck. You might be able to collect unemployment for 13 or 26 weeks until you get up to to 62 so you can take early Social Security retirement and basically costing yourself about 25% of what you expected to get monthly, not counting those 3 to 4 years worth of income. So if you're working good, so basically you lose your job, you're talking about losing maybe $250,000 in income. You could have paid off your house, could have paid off your car, pay down bills before you retired, but you lost it. So the big beautiful bill. Some of the stuff in the big beautiful bill is now there's the numbers and everything, and say they want to reduce what they pay into Medicaid for low income poverty level people. They want to reduce it by $716 billion over the next 10 years. People are saying, depends who you talk, left, right, medium, in the center. The ones kind of in the center say a little bit more than 10 million people will lose their health care. Some of the real liberal ones say up to 15 million people will lose their health care. If you go to the House, the leader, he says no one will lose their health care. What he says is we're going to take the people who are frauding Medicare, who should never been on Medicare. We're spending I saw one that says we're spending $1.3 billion a year on illegals receiving health care. Well, federal law says illegals can't get health care. Some states like California and stuff give health care, like CalCAD gives it too, but they have to pay it out of their own pockets. Okay, but 1.3 billion. Okay, let's think that. But 1.3 billion over 10 years is only $13 billion. But that still leaves $703 billion, quote unquote. Then they go and say fraud. Fraud? Yeah, there's always fraud. There's doctors and medical supply companies. They get nailed every year on fraud. I'll write a bogus, as a doctor, I'll write a bogus prescriptions, and then you bring it to the medical supply company. He gets a kickback. You get a kickback. You don't need it. And so we submit the bill to Medicare, and we get this money. Medicare, Medicaid. They do that. Okay. Every organization, every profession has fraud in it. Everyone. And so they do that. Okay. He goes and says $1.3 billion are in illegal immigration. Well, ICE yesterday arrested a mother. She'd been in the country a little bit more than 10 years, and they're getting ready to send her home. Or somewhere. Well, she's got 3 kids that are American citizens. Well, she was faced with the choice, does she take her children with her who are American citizens, or she leave them here with someone else? So she and her 3 children are going to be deported, the 3 American citizens. But if the 3 American citizens were on Medicaid or CHIPS or one of those other programs, guess what? that is not fraud because they're American citizens. Well, there are a lot of elderly people on Social Security who get so little, they're on Medicaid because they could be only, say, getting $900 a month, which brings them below the poverty level, and they can't afford to go and pay 180 something bucks a month to Medicare. So the state picks it up and puts them on Medicaid. Also, in the state of New Hampshire, we have county homes. And the county homes are responsible for poor people. Okay, Medicaid pays for a lot of the people in the nursing home. Give you an example. My mother-in-law has been in Maplewood for over 3 years. So for the 3 years, she spent for about $450,000. Okay? Now, if someone else who didn't have savings or property to sell was on Medicaid, I don't know the exact number, but so say it's half of what someone who pays the full ride. So that means there's a $7,000 a month difference. 7,000, 85,000 bucks a year. You know who picks that up? We do. The people who are in Cheshire County. You know, take a look at your tax bill and you see the county tax. Well, Cheshire County, you'll see that, and the taxpayers of Cheshire County make up the shortfall that Medicaid does not pay for people to be in the nursing home. It does not pay. Now the federal government wants to pay less. The state wants to pay less. So we as the taxpayers have to pay more. But the big beautiful bill is going to help save us. Okay, the big beautiful bill says now if you want to get Medicaid, you got to work 80 hours, at least 80 hours a month. Okay? You know, if we went to Walmart and looked at how many people in Walmart who work 25, 30 hours a week, because Walmart's not going to allow them to go overtime, or Walmart doesn't want to pay them better stuff. So, say they get 14 bucks an hour. You work 30 hours, you get $420. So you gross $1,700. Now you pay Social Security, you pay your taxes. So it's 10. So take 200 bucks off. Now you got 1,500 bucks a month. Now you got to pay your rent. Even in your subsidized housing, okay, you got to pay 30% of the 15. So now down to $1,000. So now you got bills, you got car, you got electricity, you got a bunch of these stuff. Well, you can't afford. Where my wife worked years ago when she first started, they offered a plan, $94 a week. So basically about $380 a month. extremely high deductible, extremely high copays. And if you're making $1,000 gross, now would you pay $400 a month just for the basics plan? So that's down to $600. So, but a lot of the people who are on Medicaid are working, but they're working in companies that prevent them from working full time to qualify for benefits. In a lot of places, they make sure they work less than 32 hours. You ever go to Walmart with that woman or that guy holding that little key? Oh, time to leave. If your time's up, even in the middle of running an order, they'll replace you. Hey, can't run that risk. So, they said for a rough number, for the $716 billion, they expect at least 26,000 people to suffer an early death because of their inability to get health care. Also, our local hospital, it gets funded quite a bit by healthcare, Medicare payments. If they reduce the number of people covered by Medicaid, so now a procedure may be $1,000. If you pay cash, it's $1,000. You pay insurance, it may be $750. But if you're on Medicare, maybe $500. But if you're poor and have nothing, it's $0. Oh yes, if you go to the emergency room, you cannot be refused. Simple, no health insurance. Do not make an appointment with the walk-in clinic or have a PCP because you're going to get a bill that you have to pay. So if you don't have any health insurance, you go in and just show up in the emergency room. And Cheshire Medical always runs millions of dollars into debt. Okay? It would not be the first rural hospital to close. And even the senator of Missouri, the Republican, he goes, holy crap. If we do this, a lot of the places in Missouri spread out will no longer have a hospital. Other thing, you know what? If I'm a doctor and they reduce Medicare payments, I don't have to take you. If you don't have insurance, I don't have to take you. So I may be the only doctor in a small town, or maybe a place like Keene and it's 10 doctors. What happens if we decide that we're only taking known paying customers? You better have insurance if you want to be seen by me. When you walk into my office and you try to make an appointment, I want to see your medical card, and I'm keeping it on file to make sure it doesn't run out and it stays active. So this big reduction in Medicaid is going to affect the health and quality of life of a lot of people. Oh, not only that, SNAP, food stamps. About 40 million Americans are on food stamps. And you go, there's all this anecdotal stuff. Oh yeah, they're buying lobster, they're doing this, they're doing that. Yes, there are scammers out there. The Department of Justice just arrested an organization this week because they had scammed over $55 million in SNAP benefits. Yes, people go sell their SNAP benefits 50 cents on the dollar for drugs. Yes, there are some people that go and sell their SNAP benefits 50 cents or less on a dollar to pick up a hooker or things like that. Yeah, that happens. So if you get 2 to 3% bad apples, you don't extrapolate and say, well, the majority of the program is fraud. You know what the average household SNAP benefit in the United States is? $187 a month, which comes out to $6.16. So if I could go down to McDonald's and use my SNAP debit card, I could not even buy a quarter pounder or a Big Mac based on my daily allotment of $6.16. Okay? Yes, there's also a work requirement for SNAP. Okay? So you may see some druggies and that around town. Okay. Some may have SNAP, but the majority would not have SNAP programs. They could be on Social Security disability because if you're an addict, you can get Social Security disability for being an addict. If you're an addict with serious depression, you can get Social Security disability. And if you're on Social Security disability and if you fall in certain ways, yes, you can get SNAP programs. Yes, if you're on Social Security disability, after 2 years, you're getting health care. So we're in this situation. You're a mom, your 2 kids, your husband or your partner, your spouse gets pretty abusive and you leave for the safety of your kids. You might find it harder because when you have children, you don't have to work. But to reduce it, they're saying is, you know what? If your kid is over 7 years old, they want you to go to work now. Before it was, I think it was 13. But if your kid is over 7, go to work if you want your SNAP benefit. If I'm working, who gets my kid off to school in the morning? Who picks up my 7-year-old or is home when my 7-year-old comes home? Don't worry about it. We got to make sure we take fraud out of it. Oh, you know what? If you get your SNAP benefits taken away, you may not qualify for free or reduced lunch in school anymore. So you may lose your SNAP benefit and you'll be working at McDonald's for 30 hours a week, $14 an hour. Bingo, now you get to feed your kids, but now your kid can't get free breakfast and lunch. So if you leave an abusive relationship for the safety of your kids, under these new rules, you could lose SNAP benefits and free and reduced lunch and be forced to work at McDonald's or Wendy's or Walmart or Dollar Tree. and try to live on that. Try to have household security and food security. And please do not freeze in the winter. Do you know that 1 in every 5 people that are on SNAP, 1 in every 5 children in America get SNAP benefits? 20% of the kids get SNAP benefits. And I'm pretty sure that that percentage in Keene is higher. Just by looking at and just knowing the free and reduced lunch numbers. 1 in 8 adults are on SNAP. And even if you got $250 a month, you're not going very far with $250. You know, you can fill a basket, maybe not even fill it, for $250 and not have anything really great in there. Look at the price of hamburger. You know, just look at the price of fruit. Oh, go get a green pepper. Oh yeah, only 99 cents. If you want a good one, I can get you one for $1.49. For one. Well, I can get you a cucumber, $1 a cucumber. So $2.50 doesn't go very far. Okay. Now, what does the president go with his big, beautiful bill? He goes and says, you know what? No taxes on tips. No taxes on tips. So I think it was your first $25,000, you don't have to put taxes on tips. So if in New Hampshire you make $3 an hour and no one shows up, the owner of the restaurant has to pay you $4.25 to make up the difference. Okay? So, if you make $100 in tips, the owner doesn't have to bring you up the minimum range. So, but the owner says, yes, you made $103. So the owner has to put 7.65 into Social Security and Medicaid care. You have to put 7.65 in the Medicare. Then, yes, you have to pay taxes. Oh, no tip. You know who it really benefits? It benefits the restaurant owner. He doesn't have to pay more taxes than you. He's happy. Oh, we're not going to put taxes on overtime. Oh, that's great. But who makes up the loss for the money doesn't go to Social Security and Medicare? Okay. Then he goes, you know what? You people over 65, what I want to do is give you a $4,000 deduction. So, if you make less than $75,000, I'll give you each one you can get $4,000. You can get $4,000, but a couple, if you make less than $150, we'll give you an $8,000 extra deduction. If you're making 150,000 bucks, you are not poor. So say you're in the 20% tax bracket after deductions, that means you get 1,600 bucks. You get a little about 125 bucks a month extra. But if you're Mrs. and Mrs. down here who make $40,000 a year, $4,000, so you get $8,000 deduction. Oops. You may not get any money at all because you may not even already be paying taxes. What about the people who are 65 and older who don't even have to file social income tax every year because their income is so low? Another fake out. And oh yeah, because of these only go from 25 to 85. A lot of the benefit for us working or retired suckers is 25 to 28. And the big boys, and I think the number was 87%, I had it, 87% of all the benefits would go to the top 1%. And, but hey, that's the way it is. And it's a good one. The one I think I talked about last week. The Trump MAGA plan. So everybody who is born between the time of the passage of the bill and 2025 will get $1,000 in a baby bonus MAGA plan. Hopefully your parents will be able to put money in and it will grow. Well, in a way of looking at it, you can put up to $5,000 a year in it. If I'm in the top 20%, $5,000, no big deal, tax advantage and everything. Well, so say you're just an average family, medium household here. You're getting about $65,000 a year before taxes or any other expense. Oh, where are you going to get that $5,000? You're going to be paying a heck of a lot more if you put the child into daycare and you work. But if you stay home, you don't make the money. So where do you get to put the money in? But hey, it's a big, beautiful plan. And Mr. Trump has ordered the Senate not to leave for the July 4th holiday because he wants his big, beautiful plan on his desk. I'm not rich, not close to being rich. I'll benefit a little bit from the big, beautiful plan. But the bottom 60% of the people are going to get screwed. And I'll give you one example. Let's see. Say I'm a wealthy doctor, have a little small practice, or a wealthy accountant, or have a business in Keene. And I make $5 million. Okay? But let's look at it go. They get a thing called pass-through. And what they're going to say is, okay, Dr. Roberts, we're going to take you that $5 million. We're going to say, you know what? You did not earn that 20% of that $5 million. And so we're going to allow you to pass through that $1 million. And we're going to allow you to go at a different tax rate. And it's like, oh, wow. Because of what's that little pass through that came through 2017, I get to save $355,000 every year because of that special arrangement. It's like tucked in there, and and the vast majority of people have no idea about it. But there's S corporations, private owners, partnerships, limited. That's bingo. Okay. But Congress is saying, you know what? That's not enough. We want to raise it from 20 to 23% that it can go through. And so, Dr. Roberts, if we pass this, it will give you a $420,000 tax credit. Wow, $420,000. I could take a lot of vacations. I can buy an even bigger house, mansion. I can buy nice cars and everything. Oh, well. And the funny part is, or the not funny part is, if I'm the doctor, the dentist, the accountant, or whatever, I would be paying a lower tax rate than all my assistants working for me. Hey, big beautiful bill, and that's how the rich get richer, because they buy off the politicians. Plain and simple. Okay, there's an old movie, The Last Unicorn, and the king throws out the witch because the witch was telling him the truth. And he brought in a new witch that would tell him everything he wanted to hear. So the old witch, on her way out the door, told the king, "You are inviting your own death through your own front door." So a lot of the MAGers who can't think or won't think are inviting their own death through their own front door. Some will lose Medicaid and will not have the option to go to a hospital or a doctor, get the high blood pressure treated, and they'll have a heart attack and die. Or they may not get to go see a doctor and find out they have cancer until it's stage 4 and they die. Bingo. They're not going to get the quality of food. They're not going to get a whole bunch of stuff. Place in Keene, if you go look at the Keene City Council, Homeland Security gives us a bunch of money every year for the fire department, the police department, and everything. But hey, Mr. Trump says, you know what? These local governments, local states have to spend their own money, cough up their own money, because I need to reduce it so I can give this multi-trillion-dollar tax break to the wealthy. So, Boris, the guy from Amazon, who's basically rented out Venice for his big wedding, just think, our tax laws are allowing him to spend money that should have been paid into the American taxes to have this big wedding to satisfy his ego. While our debt went over the $37 trillion mark and is going faster and faster. And just think, in 9 years, Mr. Trump, Mr. Biden, Mr. Trump has only these two individuals have increased the national debt over $16 trillion. And a lot of people are going to pay for it. But it's going to be the bottom 79%. There is no more middle class because those are the jobs they're coming for, and those are the jobs that get wiped out because of the big beautiful bill. But hey, like they say, it sucks to be in the middle. Politicians know we don't think. Politicians have been buying us off like we were junkies, giving us this, and this. And you know what? The bill's coming due. Okay. Bombs. Bombs cost a lot of money. And 5 days ago, the president got on his social media. The president came on national TV with his three stooges standing behind him. Epic picture. I had to get a copy it so I can leave it for my great grandkids and saying, this is what happens when people sell their soul for positions. They cease to be human because you have to have a certain level of integrity to be human. Trump came on, said he ordered the bombing of Iran's nuclear facilities because he came with Netanyahu strength through peace. Once we bomb the holy hell out of them and show them how strong we are, we can have peace. Well, there's another old saying, Machiavellian, Shakespeare and stuff. If you come after the king, make sure you kill him. If you come after the king, make sure you kill him. Excuse me. Well, President Trump said we had a big, beautiful bombing. Everything to him is big and beautiful. And we totally wiped out Iran's nuclear capabilities, and they're not going to be able to do anything for a long time. So now they better come for peace. And they better not do this and they better not do that. So, what did Iran do? They continued to shoot missiles into Israel, as in Israel kept violating airspace. So, wait a minute. Trump is saying, hey, this is supposed to stop. Trump says, hey, you better not go after any of our 40,000 service members there. So what did Iran do? They strategically fired missiles into Qatar, which is the major command for the United States forces in the Middle East. That in Bahrain. The reason I say strategically, they put them in places where they would not kill or injure any American service members. Why? President Trump, you hit us with a couple of strong Mike Tyson headshots, and you gave me with Muhammad Ali and George Foreman body shots. You made me a little wheezy, but you didn't knock me out. And he goes, what? No, I got to have knocked you out. Nope. And then someone from the National Intelligence says, we didn't do much damage to Iran. What we said we did at Iran. We didn't really do anything. Then some of the European papers are looking at it. They're looking at the satellite pictures and stuff. And it goes, something is missing here. The Israeli go, yeah, we don't think it did as much as it did. What happens is you have people around Trump who will not tell him the truth. Hey, Mr. Trump says this is a big, beautiful bombing. American servicemen did great. Anybody criticizes them as anti-American, and it goes, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, Mr. Trump, 3 bags full. Yes, sir, Mr. Trump, 3 bags full. Well, you know how they talked about the bunker bomb? The bunker bomb can penetrate 200 feet of soil before it goes off. It can penetrate 60 feet of concrete before it goes off. But that was regular concrete or even reinforced concrete. And soil and rock are 2 different things. Well, the Iranians came up with this new stuff that's pretty impenetrable. Because we've been telling the Iranians for years and years and years what this bunker busting bomb can do. Well, as a combat engineer, my boss says, hey, the Americans got to bust a bomb that can go through 200 feet of soil and 60 feet of concrete. So I go and say, you know what? Let's build it at least 300 feet below. But you know, maybe I want it more deeper. And here's the thing. Spending 21 years in the military, I've been in Panama, I've been in Saudi Arabia, I've been in Bahrain, I've been in Okinawa. The American military and a lot of American politicians do not believe that people of color can exceed our intelligence. They think a lot of the people we go are stupid, backward in everything. We go to Iran, we call them ragheads. Afghanistan, we call them ragheads. We go to Saudi Arabia and we call them sand ends. Same way in Libya. They got some pretty smart people there. A lot of the things that we do, mathematics and all that kind of stuff, started from there. There's Africans and bingo. We go in with this big highfalutin high tech, but They're not stupid. They listen. Oh, you're going to do this to me? Okay, I'm not going to sit here and wait and wait and wait. No, not like Americans. Oh, we could have a great hurricane bringing up the waves. Storm surge 25 feet. I'm going to build my house where the high water mark is 15 feet. Who cares? I'll just wait for a hurricane. Those people don't do that. So what happened? Scientists say basically they agree with the military. 3 months or 6 months at best delay. Now they're saying thousands of centrifuges, they don't know what they are. All this nuclear waste, they don't know where they are. And they go, oh, wait a minute, there's another facility buried deeper that we didn't even know about. Now we look at the satellites. Oh, the entrances are closed off. They can be dug out. But they had bulldozers. How do we know they didn't do them? Oh, a lot of the buildings on top are out. And then, oh, we looked at this. Oh, the bunker buster bombs did not fall on each other. They hit in different places. And it's like the audacity of the Iranians, they may have been planning that we may attack them someday, so they created a facility someplace else, deeper and more impenetrable, and then they had, in advance, moved centrifuges and moved nuclear material. How dare they? And then we set the example that we came in and bombed the neutral country that never came anything against us. Oh, it's our money, your money, we suffer.